There are several popular conspiracy theories that are on multiple different lists and YouTube videos that everyone who is at least mildly interested in conspiracies have heard of before. I would get bored if I did research into those.
Number 4. Stevie Wonder can see.
I would rather discuss obscure oddities, something new at least to me. The 3rd of February 1959 is remembered as the day music died. Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and J.P. Richardson all passed away in a plane crash in an Iowa cornfield on the same evening. Though it is an event I have never heard of before, probably because it was over 40 years before I was born. If I have any older viewers, maybe you already know about this.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin. 3 young singers who soared to the heights of show business on the current rock and roll craze were killed today in the crash of a light plane in an Iowa snow flurry. The singers were identified as Ritchie Valens, 17, Buddy Holly, 22, and J.P. Richardson, known professionally as the Big Bopper.
They had rented a private plane to travel to a concert in Minnesota when bad weather caused them to crash. Rumors that the horrific crash hadn't been an accident continued for years following the young star's premature passings. According to the notion, Holly had been carrying a firearm for protection. It was discovered at the scene following the crash. The weapon, according to conspiracy theorists, went off into the air. The plane was brought down by an accidental firing. Others said Holly used his firearm on the pilot and his fellow passengers before crashing the plane. Holly's family heard about the story and struggled to accept these awful thoughts about their loved one. J.P. Richardson's son had grown tired of all the speculation by 2007. He hired an anthropologist to exhume his father's body in an effort to clear the family of the accusations.
Were you expecting to find something different than what the medical examiner had found? Like, were you anticipating that, or?
No, really, I was only looking at 2 questions.
Right.
Did he survive the crash, or was he going to fail, and was he shot? And I thought, yeah, well, I could do that.
Yeah.
And then when we got to the stage where I just did not want to dismantle him,
Yeah.
well, they would do that with X-ray.
Right.
And so we got the same answer without doing all the other stuff.
He was meticulously examined once more by the scientist. The results of the autopsy were conclusive. Richardson had no sign of ammunition on his body. The collision caused his sudden passing. Family members thought that the new evidence would be significant to put the absurd gunshot claim to rest once and for all, despite the fact that the revelation did not definitely confirm the fates of the other passengers. It seems like the only reason that people have this speculation is simply because Buddy Holly had a firearm in his possession. Though the cause of the crash is obvious, the poor weather conditions that night. Some people strongly believe Jimi Hendrix was murdered. One of the first medical personnel on the scene claimed in an interview that Jimi drowned in red wine, which is practically impossible to do accidentally.
We started pumping his chest to try and do cardiac massage, resuscitation, and there was no response at all. We tried to turn him over, but he was very stiff, and I think the rigor mortis had already settled in.
During CPR, a dark fluid oozes from his lungs.
We've got a device called a sucker, which we put into his mouth to try to suck away all the fluids. I couldn't understand how much fluids were in his lungs.
The fluid turns out to be red wine.
It was just impossible to remove the amount of red wine in his throat and his pharynx. It was more than just somebody drowning on a glass or 2 of red wine. Well, I think at least 2 or 3 bottles of red wine.
Mike Jeffries, his manager, had previously worked for the CIA. Given that Hendrix passed away with less than $20 in his bank account, despite being one of the most well-known musicians of the day, Jimmy was reportedly scheduled to sue him in court the following day for failing to pay Jimmy's earnings. Although, with keeping all of Jimmy's money, Jeffries also amassed over $1 million in life insurance proceeds following Jimmy's passing. Monica Denkin, the one who discovered his body, is a very shaky eyewitness. She decided against calling an ambulance in case they found the pot she and Jimmy had been smoking. 20 years have passed since the devastating loss of singer Aaliyah. On August 25th, 2001, she was 3 albums into a flourishing R&B career when she perished in a plane crash departing the Bahamas, where she was filming the music video for Rock the Boat.
The plane crash that killed a rising star in the world of music and film. Reaction today after Aaliyah and 8 others were killed when their plane went down.
Plane, just after taking off for Florida in perfect weather, suddenly plummeted to the ground. Investigators now saying one of the engines apparently failed. Along with 8 passengers, Aaliyah, a young Brooklyn native and a talented singer and actress.
Aaliyah's hits include Back and Forth and At Your Best. She acted in the movie Romeo Must Die and was slated to appear in sequels to The Matrix. But her life, her dreams, were taken away. On board the doomed Cessna, Aaliyah and 8 others, including a representative for Virgin Records and a makeup artist. Investigators say one of the engines apparently failed. They crashed just short of a runway on Abaco Island. Members of her dance team arrived safely on a different plane.
She's a beautiful person inside and out, and we're going to all miss her deeply.
She will greatly be missed. You know, she had a great impact on many lives, and it was a great experience to share that time.
The family, too hurt to speak on camera, but released this statement. Aaliyah's family is devastated at the loss of their loving daughter and sister. Their hearts go out to those families who also lost their loved ones in this tragic accident. Fans at the Virgin Megastore in Times Square say Aaliyah was a role model.
She had it going with her music, her acting career. She had a lot going for a young girl with a lot of potential.
She was only 22. Even though this was just a year before I was born, surprisingly, I've never heard about Aaliyah before I watched a Sloan video a couple months ago.
It's time that we talk about the tragic life of Aaliyah. She would have been 42 years old if she wasn't failed by her family and her team. From the age of 12, her beauty and talents were exploited, whether it was by her uncle or by her husband, R. Kelly. These people only ever cared about themselves. While her legacy still lives on, justice has not been served, and it's time for karma to take over.
Should I know about these people? Well, I obviously knew about Jimi Hendrix, but I wasn't really educated on his passing. She had 5 songs in the top of Billboard's Hot 100. She was a rising star. Imagine how successful she would have become if she didn't pass early. Her debut song, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, was produced by R. Kelly, who in 1994 had a brief marriage to the underage Aaliyah. For crimes involving multiple women, Kelly was found guilty last year, which I would think is common knowledge, being big news recently. He got Aaliyah, who was 15 when she married the 27-year-old Kelly, a fake ID. According to witness testimony, her age was misrepresented on the marriage documents as being 18. In 1995, the marriage was annulled. Mary J. Blige, another R&B artist, gave a mysterious interview in 2005 when discussing Aaliyah. Blige warned the world that they were coming for her next, telling The Guardian, "When I saw her pass, that's when I discovered the fact that I'm next. I don't know how or when, but they're going to sort out, but I'm next. I don't know what kind of freak accident they're going to put me in, or what kind of overdose of substances they're going to sort out. But at the end of the day, I knew I was next."
Assuming that the ribbon that you have is in memory of Aaliyah.
Yeah, this is my crew. You know, we put, you know, the stylist, we gave everybody ribbons, and this, I don't even know what to say. I just know that was a murder. You know what I'm saying? That was a spiritual murder, whether people know it or not, because God don't kill people. You know what I'm saying? Whether people know it or not. And I could go deep, but a lot of people I would have to really bring proof, you know what I'm saying, for what I learned. And she just was cut down in the prime of her life. And it's so unfair. And it wasn't time. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, I believe it wasn't her time to go, because from what I know, it ain't supposed to go down like that. And just simple obedience, like, you know, your gut always warns you this, that your gut never lies to you. And something like luggage and clothes and jewelry and all this madness that we worship is called false idols. We need to really look at the bigger picture right now. And look at how Honey could be here right now.
It's a lesson.
You understand what I'm saying?
About 2 decades after that interview, Blige is still living. She is currently thriving, therefore it would seem that her fatal theory was incorrect. She has not clarified who they are. Regardless, additional details concerning the mistreatment of Aaliyah endured at the hands of R. Kelly when she was a teen have come to light. Fans are still pondering whether Aaliyah passing was actually an accident. In light of that tragic story, Bill Hicks was a rebellious child who was born into a devout Baptist family in a remote area of Georgia. As he grew older, he used comedy to express his annoyance with that conservative upbringing. The chain-smoking Southerner rose to fame as a popular stand-up comedian in the 1980s. His biting humor made people laugh. His anti-establishment political satire was noteworthy at the time.
One time, me and 3 friends dropped acid, drove around in my dad's car. He has one of those talking cars. We're tripping and the car goes, "The door is ajar." We pulled over and thought about that for 12 hours. Shit, how can a door be ajar? Oh, shit, the freeway's melting. Put it in the jar. This went on for hours. Got pulled over tripping once. Cop was tapping on this window. We're staring at him in this mirror over here. How tall are you? Shit. Ambush. Big one and a little one. Twins. Oh, shit. Be cool.
Sadly, the young comic was never given the opportunity to succeed as a celebrity. After a battle with pancreatic cancer, he passed away in 1994 at the age of 32. Since then, Hicks' reputation as a truth teller has become stronger. It has also been deemed doubtful that he had actually passed. Definitely the most ridiculous of them all, but I will entertain it. According to some ardent supporters, Hicks faked his demise and became a well-known right-wing commentator who has been banned off the YouTube platform.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that?
According to The Notion, Hicks abandoned comedy in favor of right-wing political rants and online radio shows, sharing common enemies such as the mainstream media and the general establishment of the elite culture prevalent in big cities. Hicks had a great sense of humor and was quite sarcastic, something Jones is said to lack. But I can't give my own opinion on that since I do not watch either of them. It seems like the main point of evidence used is that the two look similar despite their nose, though it is argued that he got rhinoplasty to not seem suspicious. Also, Hicks is 13 years older than Jones, but there are other arguments as there are hour-long videos discussing irrefutable proof that the right-wing commentator is Bill Hicks.
Dental records have been used for over 200 years in this country for the identification of deceased. The teeth are uniquely qualified for identification in many ways, but especially since they are virtually impossible to destroy. They survive fire, decomposition, and submersion in water or earth for many years. The survivability and the fact that most persons have dental records is the key to the success of dental records for the identification of deceased. Even now, with many persons having no dental restorations, the teeth and their surrounding structures provide a myriad of distinct characteristics useful in identification. For the next images, we will be paying special attention to the distinct characteristics of the two top central incisors, the bottom right cuspid, and the bottom right lateral incisor as seen in this diagram. In this first image, we have red arrows pointing to the two top central incisors. We can clearly see the noticeable trademark gap in between the incisors. There was some dental work done to shave them down slightly in order to give a slightly different appearance, but there was no work done to diminish the gap. In the second image, we direct our attention to the bottom right cuspid. In both images, the cuspid protrudes significantly, which causes the bottom right lip to slightly protrude and droop in both images. The image on the left is a little more pronounced because the heavier bottom lip was reduced in size during plastic surgery, and we can clearly see that in the image on the right, the bottom right cuspid has been ever so slightly shaved down. In this last image, we can see that the right lateral incisor sets behind both the bottom right cuspid as well as the bottom right central incisor. Though the appearance of the teeth have been altered slightly through shaving them down, the individual crookedness and displacement of the teeth have remained the same. Next, let's take a look at some other irrefutable forensic evidence into the true identity of Alex Jones. Bill Hicks had many moles, but the most defined mole that he had was below his jaw on the left side of his neck. In the image on the left, you can see where the large mole was located on Bill Hicks, and on the image on the right, you can clearly see a scar where that same mole had been removed. Most of Bill Hicks' moles were removed during plastic surgery, but if you look closely, you will find either scars, blemishes, or smaller freckles that were not removed because they were small and more likely to go unnoticed. There is absolutely no doubt that Bill Hicks knowingly, intentionally, and willfully became a fraud and deceiver of the nations. He willingly chose to become the controlled opposition of the one world government. He has full knowledge that he only reveals the partial truths to his audience in order to keep them distracted from what the one world government is really up to.
They bring up that during his last performance, he mentioned selling a show, that this would be the actions of a man planning for the future, not waiting for an impending demise. Though it's obvious that this show was a joke, as it was called Let's Hunt Billy Ray Cyrus. This is a joke. They also say the two have the same teeth. They say he had moles removed during plastic surgery, but you can still see scars where they used to be. My question is, if the CIA wanted to have a right-wing commentator character, why have that person be Bill Hicks and fake his passing? Create a character from an unknown individual. That would be much easier and cheaper. XXXTentacion, a rapper from the United States, passed on June 18th, 2018, at the age of just 20. The conspiracies began to circulate after Billie Eilish had barely finished recording her album, When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? In 2019. Conspiracy theorists noticed that the song Bury a Friend. She was almost instantly accused of joining the Illuminati, and some even said that she had been responsible for the rapper's passing in order to become the next great thing in the music business. There is absolutely no evidence for this. It is just people trying to make connections where they don't exist. According to the theory, Billy would have needed to offer a blood sacrifice, in this case XXXTentacion, in order to be initiated and accepted as a member of the Illuminati at the 2019 American Music Awards. This sacrifice is thought to have served as inspiration for Bury a Friend. Conspiracy theorists asserted that Billy's initiation was complete when she performed at the 2019 AMAs. Billie says the inspiration for the song was sleep paralysis and nightmares. Reading the lyrics, it seems like this makes much more sense than actually referring to burying a friend. I am sure the majority of people have heard the speculation that Tupac and Elvis are still alive, but this one is new to me. Steve Jobs. He passed away in 2011 after a brutal case of pancreatic cancer. Although his legacy with Apple is almost certainly going to endure forever, his early passing devastated both fans and clients. Since Jobs' passing, lookalikes have continued to emerge. A social media image from 2019 said to reveal a person that remarkably resembled Jobs residing in Cairo, Egypt. It spread like wildfire and had people wondering if he was still alive. The real Jobs was of Syrian heritage, and he is said to have loved the Middle East in his earlier years. With those details, the internet went crazy with it, concluding that he must have faked his passing and moved to Egypt for seclusion. But Jobs has allegedly been seen alive after his passing more than once. In 2016, when a doppelganger appeared in Rio de Janeiro, perceptive Brazilians questioned whether he was actually residing there. If he was trying to hide from the public, maybe he would have done it better, changing his appearance at least a bit. Or maybe his appearance isn't that unique, and there are thousands of men who look similar to him. The only evidence is the sightings of people who look similar. Black Star. David Bowie's last album was released 2 days before he passed away in January 2016. Fans immediately questioned the timing of the new music, especially given that it mainly featured themes of death and transformation. But for conspiracy theorists, things were questionable with him much earlier. Some claim that the shaky material first appeared on Bowie's concept album from 1972. According to that idea, Bowie used his concept album, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, to predict the birth of Kanye West. Believers cite the cover art for the 1972 record, in which Bowie is shown standing beneath a mysterious sign that reads K West. The opening song from the album, 5 Years, refers to 5 years in the future, 1977, which also happens to be Kanye's birth year. There are several other rumors about Bowie. The most prominent centers on Jack Stephen, a successful musician and longtime friend of David Bowie. In an interview with Sky News following his passing in 2016, Stephen expressed how he felt that a part of him had passed too.
Perhaps first sum up how you felt this morning when you heard this news.
I was just saying earlier that I actually felt that part of me had died. I mean, I have to say that's how much an influence he is, I think, to me and to thousands and millions of people around the world.
Fans took that seemingly innocent comment and started theorizing. Some people now think that David Bowie and Stephen were the same person. They make reference to the physical similarities between the two men and assert that Bowie's passing was Stephen's means of putting an end to the career of his alter persona. The remark he made on TV was allegedly a coded message for fans who deciphered it. Most likely explanation is that they were just close friends who may have had a few physical similarities. People just like to conspirize. I mean, I do too. It's interesting. People had strange speculations about Heath Ledger even before his passing on January 22nd, 2008. At the age of 28, it was claimed that when he played the Joker in The Dark Knight Rises, evil entered his spirit, causing him to go insane.
So what are you proposing? It's simple. Kill the Batman.
This is often said about actors who play roles of sadistic characters, but that is another topic. That isn't even close to being The strangest theory about this young actor who tragically passed in the prime of his life and career, the fact that Ledger passed away on Oscar nomination day in 2008, and the ceremony took place a month later, attracted conspiracy theorists.
And the Oscar goes to Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight.
They asserted that the actor was targeted by the Illuminati in order to boost the award show's viewership. They insisted that Ledger had to give his life in order to achieve fleeting fame. Why can't celebrities just rest in peace? Why does there always have to be a conspiracy theory? As the number 22 is in accordance with the Joker tarot card, they also claimed that since he passed away on the 22nd, his passing was ritualistic. They also noted that Ledger's character is hanged twice in his two most recent films, The Dark Knight Rises and The Imagination of Dr. Parnassus. He is seen suspended from his foot in one scene, which resembles a hanged man tarot card. The all-seeing eye emblem is drawn on his forehead in an alternative scene, which depicts him being hung by the neck. Some even think that Mary-Kate Olsen was enlisted by the Illuminati to harm Ledger in a manner that would resemble an overdose. When Glee initially aired, it was hailed for being distinctive and for representing individuals who don't always fit the mold. And while the show's later seasons were criticized for being uninteresting and uninspiring, most fans recall what is commonly known as the Glee curse. Supporting actor Mark Salling was found guilty of possessing illegal pornography and ended his existence in 2018. In addition to lead actor Corey Monteith passing away from an overdose on July 13, 2013, 1 month before the Teen Choice Awards. Between the 4th and 5th season, conspiracy theorists initially jumped on the celeb must pass to increase viewer ratings bandwagon, accusing Monteith of being a victim of the Illuminati, as they had done with the aforementioned celebrity passings. The actress Lea Michele won an award at the Teen Choice Awards for Best Comedy TV Show and Best TV Actress. She spoke tearfully of Corey, who was her boyfriend at the time of his passing.
TV actress, comedy is
Lea Michele. I wanted to dedicate this award to Corey. For all of you out there who loved and admired Corey as much as I did, I promise that with your love, we're going to get through this together. He was very special to me and also to the world, and we were very lucky to witness his incredible talent, his handsome smile, and his beautiful, beautiful heart. So whether you knew him personally or just as Finn Hudson, Corey reached out, and he became a part of all of our hearts, and that's where he'll stay forever. So thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Some unsympathetic viewers said that Michelle was complicit in the Illuminati plot and consented to the passing of Corey in order to advance her career. Additionally, they said that she only continued to bring up Corey in order to keep the media's attention on herself, beginning with her statement at the award ceremony. When Michelle began dating Matthew Gaetz only a year after Corey passed away, it was further proof that she wasn't truly heartbroken over his passing. Let the woman grieve in peace and move on in peace. Jeez. The Glee curse suspicion continues. Naya Rivera passed in 2020 by accidental drowning while saving her son in a lake near her California home. There were fatalities among the crew in addition to the terrible loss of 3 prominent cast members, Jim Fuller, an assistant director, a man identified as Paul, who was in charge of props. Both passed away from heart attacks. There were 2 further fatalities committed by themselves. Nancy Moats and production assistant, and an unnamed rigger. Mark Watson, the primary stand-in for Matthew Morrison, passed in a collision. The concept of a curse, according to many, dramatizes and trivializes tragic passings. Fans expressed their disgust with the way these delicate subjects were handled on social media when the concept of a curse was first mentioned. The rumor has received a great deal of criticism from the cast and fans. Several of the original cast members have expressed their opposition to it, even calling it trash. It seems to just be a tragic string of passings, though the amount of tragedies is only a coincidence. In 2012, the producer of the movie The Master, Harvey Weinstein, alleged that several Scientologists at the time were annoyed by the Joaquin Phoenix and Philip Seymour Hoffman movie and attempted to sabotage its production. Following the director of the movie's confirmation that it was partially based on L. Ron Hubbard, telling the story of a cult leader and a World War II veteran drawn into his cult. The Church of Scientology refuted these accusations. However, conspiracy theorists appear to believe that the Church's denial suggests that they have another plan in mind. After Philip Seymour Hoffman passed, they claimed that the Church of Scientology assassinated him in retaliation for the film's publication. Hoffman had been clean from substances for 23 years. Therefore, it was strange he would pass away from an overdose soon after the movie was finished, given that 49 bags of substances were also recovered at the location. Some even said that Hoffman's scene resembled something a hitman might leave behind. He passed a month before the Academy Awards, suggesting to some that this was done on purpose to make it clear that Hoffman would never go to another award ceremony. Others asserted that Hoffman's passing was ritualistic, carried out by the Church of Scientology and the Illuminati as retaliation for the insults to their religion. I agree that after 23 years of staying sober, it's slightly suspicious that his passing was labeled as an overdose, though still completely possible. It seems like every time a celebrity passes, there are conspiracy theories. Immediately after Coolio passed away, illogical conspiracy theories surrounding his passing emerged in far-right communities. Some people made the assumption that the 59-year-old musician had been assassinated because he was about to expose the elites for trafficking with his inside information about the inner workings of the music business. That is just what some have said. There is no evidence. Others promote the myth that his passing was caused by a vaccination. Only a minute after announcing Coolio's passing on his show, commenter Tim Pool started bringing up the recent fatalities linked to heart disease. His guest told him, "You're not allowed to ask any questions about that," adding sarcastically, "This program was brought to you by Pfizer." People say the same about Bob Saget. So why are there conspiracies surrounding every celebrity passing? Dr. Yotam Afrier, a professor of communications at the University of Buffalo, suggests the new style of conspiracyism that we see these days is often an all-encompassing, trying to explain pretty much everything that's wrong with this world with one simple explanation. If you believe that there is a secret group of nefarious people who are responsible for all that is bad in the world, why not believe they are behind some of the passings of your favorite celebrity? A beloved celebrity attracts attention, and if one comes up with the most outrageous, surprising, and emotional story to explain their passing, the algorithm will prioritize this information over the boring truth that people pass because we all simply do eventually, even celebrities.